Hi, welcome back. This is the Mustang build part 2. In this episode, I found out that the engine was totally blown and I had to rebuild it. So come with me and I'll show you what went on. So this is what I did in the last episode. Go back and watch the last episode, episode 1 of the Mustang build. I'll try and link it above. We got it looking really good. This was the picture when we lowered it. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how it sounded when we rebuilt the engine. It's a bit of a sneak peek. Right, let's get straight into this. So this is the code it pulled. It was a P022 code, which was something to do with the camshafts. So what I did, I pulled the covers, and as you can clearly see, there was scoring. So what I did is take them to a machine shop, and they said that's not your main problem. So I put it all back together, but before I did that, I decided to paint the covers just to make it look a lot nicer. So I think you all agree it looks a lot better in red. So I decided to pull the sump off, but to do that we had to jack the car up because the sump was under the frame. And what we actually found was that the pistons were moving, a couple of them, and the rods were moving side to side. So we got the bearings out, and as you can see, they looked a complete mess. So with the bearings being spun, I was absolutely gutted. I knew what it meant. It basically meant I had to repair the whole engine. I can't tell you how gutted I was. So let's get on with pulling the engine apart. So I was doing this engine rebuild with my father-in-law. So we got all the tools nicely organised. So we're ready to go. What I did then is I started pulling the bits off the engine, ready to disconnect it from the body. What we had to do is remove the front bumper because the engine hoist wouldn't go close enough to the car to remove it. I also had to take the gearbox off, which was a right pain to get off in the first place because we couldn't get it out with the gearbox attached because I hadn't got enough room above. So in the middle of getting the engine out and getting it on the ground, we had to actually push the car back because we couldn't get the hoist back. Picture of me standing there, proud as punch, got the engine out, cleaned everything up, made sure we labelled everything up, ready to go for the next bit. Got everything laid out so we knew where everything was so we wouldn't lose anything because there were so many bits. And then we started on the teardown, pulling all the bits out of the sump so we could find out exactly what went on. There's the gearbox. The gearbox had to come off to separate the engine. It was just a bit of a pain in the bum underneath. So what we did now is we tried to get the crank out so we could have a look and see if there was a problem with the crank. And off to the left of it there, on the next picture there, you'll see that there's a ridge line on here. That shouldn't be there. That should be smooth. So the crank was absolutely knackered. We asked someone if they could actually have a look at it, and they said you need a new one. So continuing taking the engine apart so we can check for wear, I decided to make sure everything was organised so we knew exactly where everything was if we needed to put it back in to check anything. Laying all the parts out, it was an absolute mess, and this is part of the nightmare. It's all the bits that you have with it. So we had to remove the exhaust off the heads. They were a pain in the bum. Some of the nuts were rusted on. So once I'd got that off, we could clean them and see what was going on. So now that the pistons and rods was out, we could check the block for wear. As you can see on this picture, all the side lining is scored. So we sent that away to the machine done so we could fit the new pistons in and everything would work perfectly. So we decided to go for the forged pistons and rods. You can see how big these are compared to the originals. Now these are the originals, they're dead small and flimsy compared to what we got. So we put them all together to get them ready to go into the block. So this is a Fast and Furious style picture of all the parts put together to show off all the really cool parts. So this is a new forged 8-bolt crank rather than the 6-bolt. It's similar to what's in the Mustang Cobras. So this is us putting it in the block and getting it all fitted in nicely. And then what we did then is decide to go onto the pistons and getting all the pistons in the block and rods and getting everything together, attached to the crank and ready to go. So everything's starting to come together now. We've got a new oil pump on because you can't use the old one, and we wanted a better oil pump with the new engine. So this is getting all the timing done and all the timing chains on, the phasers on, all the covers and the rocker cover back on so we can start to get this back in the car. So it's all looking good now. Everything's back together. You can see the new flywheel is on there. And in the next picture, we did the gearbox. I've not got a picture of the clutch, but we've put a racing clutch and flywheel on it so it would be able to handle the power. Put everything back together. We figured out a way to get the gearbox and the engine, get it on the hoist and get everything back in the car in one piece. Then we didn't have to go underneath and start messing about. So what we were doing now is just making sure everything was secure back on the engine mounts so we could start putting all the supercharger and everything back on. In this picture there, we're pretty much there now. Just got to hook the rest of the stuff back up. So this is the last picture I've actually got of this bit of the engine there before we put all the fluids back in and got all the rad back in. It was all off my old phone, so this is what I was left with. So this is when we got it out the garage and got everything back together and started it for the first time. So we got the car put back together. It looked good, sounded good. It went for a tune, sorted that out, then I sold it on. I just had enough of the car spending all its time in the garage, waiting for parts, and then if I got the wrong one, I had to wait for some more parts. It took weeks and weeks and weeks, but that's what you get when you buy an American car. In the UK, you have to wait. It would have been quicker if I'd have put a new engine in. Might have been easier if I did a Toyota swap. I've never done that. So I'm going to leave you with this, and this is the end of the video. Have a look at the pictures, and I'll catch you in the next one.